Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's 6 p.m. here in Cairo. This is Shuru Bakir, and I'll accompany you through the latest development in the national and international arena. Starting off with the headlines, followed with the details. President Sisi meets Chief of the U.S. Central Command on bilateral ties and regional issues. Prime Minister Madbouli grates ex-Environment Minister on her new UN post. And a calm reported in Syria's Suaide as Damascus says a truce holding. Welcome back. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi stressed that Egypt is continuing its intensive efforts to reach a ceasefire in Gaza Strip, exchange hostages, and ensure the entry of the humanitarian aid, hailing U.S. President Donald Trump's efforts to reach a ceasefire. This came as President al-Sisi received on Sunday the chief of the U.S. Central Command, General Michel Corella, who conveyed Trump's greetings to President al-Sisi. President al-Sisi lauded the deep-rooted strategic relations with the U.S., and the meeting tackled means of promoting bilateral relations and joint coordination in various fields. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi expressed a commitment to supporting the Arab League. This came during a meeting with Arab League Secretary General Ahmed Abulghit, and al-Sisi expressed a deep belief in the pivotal role of the Arab League in supporting joint Arab action and unifying our position to face unprecedented challenges to the region. Presidential spokesman Ambassador Mohammed al-Shinawi said that the meeting with the Arab League chief focused on regional developments, especially in Gaza and the West Bank, and efforts by Cairo to reach a ceasefire and guaranteeing the entry of humanitarian aid into Gaza. Ambassador Shinawi said developments in Syria and Libya also topped the agenda of the talks, as well as the situation in Sudan, the Horn of Africa region, and security in the Red Sea. al-Sisi expressed commitment to supporting the Arab League and expressed deep belief in the pivotal role of the Arab League in supporting joint Arab action and unifying Arab position to face unprecedented challenges to the region. For his part, Abulghit said he loathes Egypt's stance, adding that Cairo's efforts contribute to the return of security and stability in the Middle East, especially with regards to the Palestinian issue. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi today directly placing the family of engineer Mustafa Anwar Ahmed Afifi to the worth honoring martyrs list. Late Afifi was martyred on his way to the mosque to perform the dawn prayer when random fire by terrorists of the Hasm group erupted upon the presidential directive. The family of the late engineer was enlisted in a fund designed for honoring those victims, wounded, or went missing in terrorist or security operations and their families. The move came as in recognition of their dear sacrifice and dedication for serving and protecting the homeland. The Interior Ministry issued a statement today on recent security developments. The statement said that in line with efforts to curb attempts to jeopardize security in the country, it acted upon information that the Brotherhood Movement's armed wing was trying to reactivate its activities. The statement said that the scheme targeted economic and security buildings through easing the illegal entry of one of its members into the country. It said that the individual took advanced military training, adding that a video of military training in a desert area in neighboring has been circulating on social media with vows to implement attacks in the country. The statement said that the national security was able to identify the leaders of the scheme, listed them as Yahya al-Sayed, Musa being the supervisor of the armored wing of the group, named Hasm Muhammad Rafiq Ibrahim, sentenced to life terms in prison after a trial for targeting a number of figures and foreign documents. Ala Ali Samahi sentenced to life terms in prison in a number of cases, including an attempt against the presidential plan and association of a police officer and other attempts against a number of figures. Muhammad Abdul Hafiz Abdullah also sentenced to life in prison in case of ceasefire assassinations attempts. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli congratulated Dr. Yasmin Fuad on her new UN post and thanked her for her great efforts during the previous period as a Minister of Environment. Dr. Yasmin Fuad is appointed as Executive Secretary of the UN Convention to combat desertification. Prime Minister stressed that Dr. Yasmin's appointment to this high-ranking post affirms that she deserves these responsibilities in support of the international organization's effort to tackle environmental challenges. He also confirmed that appointing crowned Dr. Yasmin's experience and long-standing contribution in the field, wishing her success in her new post. Madbouli also issued another decision appointing Minister of Local Development Manal Awad to handle the duties of the Ministry of Development temporarily in addition to her current post. Minister of Foreign Affairs, Migration and Egyptian Expatriates, Dr. Badr Abdelati, addressed a joint press conference alongside with the Minister of Planning, Economic Development and International Cooperation, Dr. Rania Al-Mashat, and German Minister of Economic Cooperation and Development, Rima Al-Abli Radovan. Egypt's top diplomat said that Egypt is continuing efforts to achieve a ceasefire deal in the Gaza Strip, expressing hope to facilitate the entry of humanitarian aid into Gaza Strip to end the current starvation. The Palestinian people are suffering. The German top diplomat is visiting Egypt for crucial talks on the reconstruction of Gaza in the wake of a recent Arab-led proposal for the post-war future of the Strip. Moving to Gaza, the Palestinian Health Ministry said that 73 people were killed while waiting for aid at locations across Gaza on Sunday. The largest toll was in northern Gaza, where at least 67 Palestinians were killed while attempting to access aid entering northern Gaza through the Zikim crossing with Israel. According to the Health Ministry and local hospitals, more than 150 people were wounded, some critically hospitalized, said more than 22-month genocide war in Gaza claimed over 58,895 Palestinian martyrs, mostly civilian, women and children. Calm appeared to have a return to southern Syria's Suwaida province today after a week of sectarian violence between Druze fighters and rival groups left hundreds dead. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said that since around midnight, Suwaida has been experiencing a cautious calm, adding that government security forces had blocked roads leading to the province to prevent tribal fighters from heading there. According to the observatory, sectarian clashes that erupted last Sunday between the Druze and the Bedouin rivals drew in the new government Israel armed tribes from other parts of Syria, killing more than 1,000 people earlier, and the Syrian President Ahmad al-Shara called on all parties to fully respect the truce and renowned the pledge to protect Syria's ethnic and religious minorities. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio called on Syrian government security forces to prevent terrorists from entering and carrying out massacres in the conflict striking south of the country. Rubio said that if authorities in Damascus want to preserve any change of achieving a unified, inclusive, and peaceful Syria, they must help, and this culminately by using their security forces to prevent terrorists from entering this area and carrying out massacre situation clashes between armed Bedouin forces and the Druze in the communities. Suaida hardline had drawn in Syria's new government, Israel, and other armed tribes. U.S. brokered negotiations have sought to avert further Israel military intervention, with Syrian forces agreeing to withdraw from the region. Russia's defense ministry and the mayor of Moscow said it had downed 142 drones overnight, including 27 over the Moscow region. In another development, Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky said that Kiev has proposed to Moscow a new round of peace talks next week after negotiations stalled in early June. Details in the following report. Next week, after negotiations settled in early June, 2 rounds of talks in Istanbul between Moscow and Kiev have failed to result in any progress towards a ceasefire, instead yielding large-scale prisoners exchange and deals to return the bodies of killed soldiers. Zelensky reiterated his readiness to have face sit-down with Putin. At talks last month, Russia outlined a list of hardline demands, including calls for Ukraine to cede more territory and to reject all forms of Western military support. Kiev dismissed them as unacceptable, at the time questions the point of further negotiations if Moscow was not willing to make concessions. At least 2 people were killed during heavy downpours in South Korea today, bringing the death toll to 14 from torrential rains this week. The Interior Ministry said that the toll could rise, with 12 people well unaccounted for after 5 days of heavy rain. Close to 170 millimeters of rain hit Gabyong country in the Gabyong province, 70 kilometers east of Seoul, and early Sunday, leaving at least 2 dead and 4 missing. Yonhap, a news agency, reported that a woman in her 70s was killed when her house collapsed in a landslide, while the body of a man in his 40s was found near a bridge after he drowned. Most of the deaths occurred in the southern country of the Sancheong, which has been recently around 800 millimeters of rain since Wednesday. Moving to the economy, Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli stressed on the vital role of the MARCO, Small Medium Enterprises Development Agency, in supporting and expanding small and medium-scale projects in various sectors, as well as the agency's role in supporting entrepreneurs and innovators. The Prime Minister was speaking as he chaired a followed-up meeting to review a number of files and topics, as well as work plan for the MARCO, Macro Small Medium Enterprises Development Agency. Prime Minister Madbouli reiterated that the significance of continuing efforts to assure the financial sustainability of the agency and enhancing its capabilities to achieve more objects in line with a new and comprehensive vision to increase the agency's significant contribution in supporting economy. Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli stressed that the government attaches as a top priority supporting the Egyptian-American ties in light of the historic and strategic relations binding the 2 countries. The Prime Minister was speaking during a meeting to follow up efforts to enhance the Egyptian-American economic cooperation, with the attendance of a number of ministers and top officials. The Prime Minister stressed that his government is keen to remove any obstacles facing discussing expanding joint cooperation, adding that there are many promising opportunities for U.S. company, namely in light of many incentives offered by the Egyptian government to foreign investors. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was it for the 6 p.m. edition of the news. Hope you enjoyed it. What we offered, that was me, Shurul Bakir. Thank you so much.